So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So listen, man, we about to check this video out titled Flight Passengers Captures What No One Was Supposed to See, right? But before we get into it, man, I was just dying laughing at this TikTok, right? It was this dude, he was doing a Spirit Airlines. He was throwing jabs at Spirit Airlines, and the TikTok skit was, he was laying there and then he was all of a sudden woken up by the flight attendant, right? And she was like, attention everyone. So he was woke up. She's like, attention everyone. Today we don't have a pilot, so we're gonna be selecting a pilot from one of the from one of the passengers today on the plane. So dude is looking around like, what? So then she was like, and if then nobody volunteers, we're gonna pick somebody, okay? And it was like, and sorry you don't see us at the end. She was like, and sorry you don't see us because we're working home from virtual right now. And then you hear her in the background yelling at her kid. Yo, it was hilarious, that skit, fam. If y'all can find it, check it out. Bro, so yeah, man, why do Spirit Airlines catch so many jabs, man? What is it about them? Personally, if I ever get to flying, I'm not flying Spirit. They catch too much heat. But we're gonna check this video out. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, join the fam, and here we go.
Flying has become a normal part of our everyday lives for over half a century, even though it's said that only 5% of the global population has ever been on an airplane. We don't usually give it much thought, as long as we get safely to our destination. But not all flights are the same. And these videos are the proof we need to be prepared for anything. And we do mean anything. 15 unexpected things caught on airplanes. Pope marries couple. When it comes to Catholic weddings, there's no greater officiant than the Pope himself. This impromptu marriage mid-flight by the Pontiff marks the first time in the history a Pope has married a couple on a plane. Pope Francis married two flight attendants in an unrehearsed ceremony on the plane some 36,000 feet above Chile. It all started when they
better not never get divorced, bro. That's a lot of pressure.
Began chatting with him, and they were seated next to him during a group photo shoot. The Pope questioned whether they were married, and the couple proceeded to tell him that they were scheduled to be when an earthquake struck and decimated the church for which they were to be wed. They were married legally, but had yet an opportune time to get it recognized by the church. After hearing this story, the Pope decided to do something about it, and by the power vested in him, married them there on the spot. What a tale to maybe tell their kids someday. Fasten your seatbelts, because it's time for today's sweet topic. When we board a plane, most of us are hoping for little more than a pleasant neighbor in the next door seat and in-flight entertainment that we haven't seen before. And if we're lucky enough to get the window seat, hopefully it's clear skies, great views, and smooth sailing through the skies. But imagine looking out to see this flying beside the wing. It's unlike any plane you've ever seen. It's dangerously too close. We'd be faced with a lot of questions. Do we panic? Probably not a good idea. Do we alert flight staff? That's probably not necessary either, because if we can see it, then they can too. While authorities may never be able to explain what this UFO might be, it's not the first.
I would be mad because then I'd be like, I know they see this and they're choosing not to tell us. What is going on right now? Like, I'd be furious.
Time people on planes have spotted unexplained flying phenomena. In fact, it happens fairly regularly. A remarkable incident occurred over the Sonoran Desert in Arizona on February 24th, 2018. Within minutes of each other, two pilots flying different aircraft both reported passing a mysterious object. So, we're not alone. But should we be afraid? Let us know what you think. Leave a comment with the hashtag #SweetTopic. Emotional support pony. The world of support animals is getting more exotic by the day. With the lines and definition of what's allowed, people are even pulling around emotional support ponies. How they managed to get away with that is a wonder. Then again, it should have been stopped at the duck, and then the kangaroo came along, and now ponies. What's next? Elephants? Did it get its own row to have to stand in the back with the flight attendants? The footage is hard to discern. If it took up a row, did the passenger have to pay for all those tickets? Who wouldn't be stunned if they were sitting on an airplane and on board walks a mini horse? What a world we live in today. Airlines could face fines should they be discovered banning the horses from traveling with those that they're assisting. The power still remains with the airlines whether one service animal, with the exceptions of dogs and cats, are safe for travel on a case-by-case basis. What will pop up on your flight next? Passenger revenge. To be fair, both of these people could have just read their words to solve their problems, but they ensued.
He said read their words. Use your words, people. Use your words. Don't be this person. I've seen these few of these clips already. Don't be this person.
To petty mischief to exact their revenge. The woman in the front shouldn't have flipped her hair over the back seat knowing the TV was placed there, and the passenger could have easily spoken up. Instead of sticking gum in her hair, she proceeds to cut strips of hair, stick her sucker, and clump together a good chunk of hair and dip it in coffee for good measure. To be fair, the passenger behind tried tossing her back into her face, even with the mess she had made, and she continued to throw it right back over the seat. Which is really in the wrong here is hard to decipher in the short video we get of the hilarious squad.
So basically, y'all, who's in the wrong? Both of them are in the wrong. This is petty meets petty. Petty meets petty right here. This is a prime example of was it work? Now this girl gotta cut her hair, right? At this point. Like what you got gum, lollipop, coffee juice, and whatever else that lady could find laying around that she probably put in your hair.
Squabble. Some users were quick to mention it could be a wig and the whole thing is staged.
Yeah, it could be a wig. It looks like that too. I thought about that as well.
It seems a bit harsh of a reaction from both people involved indeed. Jumping into an airplane. You may have heard of a crazy stunt called skydiving where you parachute out of an airplane, but these two extreme wingsuit enthusiasts just invented jumping into airplanes. Wingsuit flying has really been taking it to another level by the French base jumper duo Fred Fugin and Vince Refit, otherwise known as the Soul Flyers. Their latest project, aptly named A Door in the Sky, sees them base jump from one of Europe's highest peaks and into a tiny door of a plane in mid-flight. After a whopping 100 test flights, even abandoned the idea for a while, the legendary duo made history. The record was set as they leapt from the top of the 13,600-foot tall Jungfrau summit in the Swiss Alps and made it safely through the 6-foot wide boundaries of Pilatus Porter light aircraft.
That's insane to even pull that off. How do you even pull that off? You know what I'm saying? Like jumping out of a plane, that's even becoming normal to people now. You know what I'm saying? It's not normal, but it's normalizing itself. But flying back into a plane though, yeah, you're different. You're a sicko. You know what I'm saying? That's not even a risk taker. I feel like risk taker is here, and that is like way up here, like.
Pilot included had a mere 2 minutes and 45 seconds to stuff the whole feet in, and the results speak for themselves. Pilot Hand Challenge. There's a frightening new trend on TikTok called the Hand Challenge, and anyone scared of flying should not watch this next segment. These are dangerous wings that could cause serious harm, people.
150-mile-an-hour winds, like literally, and then whatever speed you're going at, fam, could probably snap your wrist. Like, yo, that's crazy. Did you see their wrist?
And pilots are sticking their arms out of windows like they're enjoying their Sunday drive. The problem is the winds, even in the smallest of planes, can reach a whopping 150 miles per hour. You can see how helpless the hands are in the wind as it gets whipped around. The hands even appear deformed and a bit scary. Even if the wind doesn't manage to break the wrist, the wind alone would hurt at that speed. It might feel like 100 needles stabbing your hand at any given spot, getting blasted by that wind. You can see that most people don't keep their hands out there for that long, and for good reason. Let's just hope we don't see any commercial pilots trying this stunt anytime soon. Seeing as that they could literally be sucked out of the window at those altitudes and speeds, pilots should definitely avoid this challenge. Jetpack Guy. There's a mysterious person flying around the US with a jetpack, and no one knows who he is. Thanks to the questionable laws surrounding travel and jetpacks, this person is allowed to freely move about as they wish thanks to their anonymous nature. The mysterious Jetpack Man recently struck above the city of LA. At least 4 sightings have occurred in a year, so the operator is being extra careful about the attention they receive. While the Jetpack mystery flyer is unlikely to avoid all eyes, as evidenced with the footage, they do randomly pop up to better shade their operations.
How? He's just known as Jetpack Guy. And he's just everywhere with it. Like, and at incredible heights. Like, this is different. Y'all are different, man. Y'all have no fear. I love it.
Upon being sensed by air traffic controllers, warnings go out to all pilots in the area to keep an eye out for the mystery flyer. As you can see, despite their attempt to avoid detection, they get all the attention. Was this the idea all along? Or are these sightings merely test runs of a shadowy operation involving the future of jetpacks? Only time will tell. In-flight concert. Flight delays almost always
I definitely remember this.
stink. So when the Philadelphia Orchestra got slammed with a 3-hour delay, they decided to take the time to not only practice, but put on a show for the entire airplane to enjoy. The members of the orchestra surprised passengers on their Beijing flight after they'd been ordered to halt on board on the tarmac for almost 3 hours. To liven the mood and help everyone keep their cool in a stressful situation, the orchestra performed all sorts of numbers that dazzled the audience. They got a free show to an esteemed orchestra. The musicians were leaving Beijing for Macau as part of the 40th anniversary tour of China, which was set to commemorate the orchestra's historic 1973 visit to the country and splendid return. They may have been a little crammed, but it was like one giant party on board once those musicians started going. The other passengers reported that what would have typically been a 3-hour nightmare turned out to be a too short experience that unlikely to occur again. What are the odds? Surprise announcement. Whenever a pilot interrupts a flight to mention they're going to have some fun, you should be worried. What the heck could that possibly mean?
What?
You can see that across many of the passengers' faces aboard this flight as the pilot did just that. Though it turns out to be nothing scary, and in fact quite joyous. Attributing the non-procedure interruption of the flight to the luck of Vegas, the pilot revealed that one passenger aboard the flight hit the jackpot, not in money, but in becoming a father.
Congratulations, you're about to be a dad.
The wife had slipped a note to one of the flight attendants asking for the pilot to ring in the exciting news.
Bruh, I don't play like that. No.
But she never knew whether it would actually work or not. Good thing these were Vegas pilots, because her whole plot might not have worked as smoothly as it did with another. The woman passenger who wrote the note wanted to give a shout out to the crew of the flight that day. If the video ever made it around the internet enough for them to see it, she said.
Congratulations to him, but he's still in like what in the world? Like, that's I don't know, man. Y'all. Salute to them. Kudos to them. But yeah. She took a heck of a risk.
Fireworks from above. When on the ground, you typically head to one spot where you can see the fireworks in all their wonder. For those in the air, when these celebrations are typically going off, they really get a show across the whole landscape. Instead of just one site, they can see all the fireworks shows at once, and it really puts into perspective how many are lit off during associated holidays. The flight is much higher than the explosion, so there's no fear from that, and you can see many of them detonating across the great expanse at the same time. From the air, all the explosions look like a war zone is occurring below. Huge flashes of light to multiple colored detonations form a collage of enjoyment and beauty.
I never really thought about people being in the air during like July 4th and stuff like that. That is a dope view.
Window seat battle. Remember when you were a kid and thought adults knew everything, had all the answers and everything about the world and each other figured out? What's worse, remember when you realized that was all bullcrap? As we get older, we realize none of us really know how to go about life, and we do the best we can nonetheless. The worst part was the realization that some adults, if they can be called that, really never grew up. They're still stuck in the petty battles with one another that you might find in a kindergarten squabble, if even then. This petty little fight over whether the airplane window shade should be open or closed may be the pinnacle of stupid fights. According to TSA rules, you only control the shade.
I don't even know why I find that funny, but I do. Because I can visualize it. I can really visualize it.
If you're the passenger near the window, it's polite to ask the people sitting nearby their preference, sure, but you can't always please everyone. That fact is apparent here as the passenger not sitting by the window thinks he should get control. Even though he asked nicely for him to shut it, the window was behind him, so why he needed it shut is another question entirely. Were there trolls on board that day? President stuck in snow. Even the president of the United States.
Hey. Biden is just, he going through it, man. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure everybody's seen that video clip of him on the bike today. And his foot got stuck. He just couldn't get it out of there, you know? And everybody saw it happen. It just, for me, it happened in like slow motion. And I was like, oh, snap. Oh. Like I could do something from my phone. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man.
States is subject to the all-powerful Mother Nature. When she strikes and strikes hard, there are none that can stand in her way. Joe Biden was delayed in disembarking Air Force One after the stairlifts struggled to get through the heavy blanket of snow that had fallen at Joint Base Andrews, Maryland. He remained aboard the aircraft for several hours during the blizzard. His flight was eventually grounded, and he was removed from the plane and sent back to the White House by motorcade. The weather conditions were too harsh to take the chopper. It's worth a note that the Secret Service brought out the snow version of the presidential limousine, a hefty SUV packing all the same features as the other, save for better winter traits like all-wheel control and ice and slip-resistant tires. The Secret Service have aptly named this vehicle the Beast for obvious reasons.
What type of blizzard is that? You can barely see. Nah, man. Y'all keep that. Y'all can keep that. I know it's somebody like, yo, L, that's nothing. That's nothing? That's ridiculous. No.
A normal activity. Being on an airplane way above the clouds is already a fear-inducing moment for many people. Now imagine being up there and something like this happens. Once you're done soiling your britches, you might pull out your phone and record like this passenger did. And good thing, or we wouldn't get to talk about this bizarre incident to the same degree. During the flight, the pilot announced that outside the window, they can observe an unidentified, strange object hovering in the sky, all the while telling everyone to remain calm. If he wanted that, he shouldn't have mentioned the object at all. The moment the flight landed, the passenger was inspired to get on the internet as fast as possible, where the world could see what had occurred in the moment after the pilot announcement. To keep things short and sweet, no one has any idea what the mysterious object was or why the flight's electronic system was affected as such. Flight control never had it on their scanners, so they couldn't even begin to wonder. They described the object as a flipping vessel somewhat hidden in the clouds above the Aegean Sea. Shortly after the pilot brought attention to it, its electronic system started going haywire, sending quite shocks everyone on board. The TV stopped producing their images, the light flickers, and the navigational equipment needles went wild.
That's gotta be a horrible feeling. Electrical issues on a flight? No thank you, please.
Creepy UFO. What in the world could this object be? The twirling and flipping objects in the sky was captured by a plane passenger who said the camera doesn't give it justice. Being up there and seeing this thing with your own eyes is all the more incredible. He was reported later saying he was a believer in aliens and that this object was indeed from another world. It moved in weird patterns, not of this world, at least not of things that fly with our given technology. It seemed to hover there and morph into different shapes. Is it a trick of the camera or indeed something stirring in the clouds? If other passengers' reports are to be believed, there was indeed something up there. What it was, however, remains a mystery. Your guess is as good as the experts assigned to the investigation. Since all they have to go on in this footage, you have all the evidence you need to draw your own conclusions as well.
I don't even know where to begin. Where do you begin? UFO? Yeah, that's where everybody would start. It's not Jetpack Man again. It's not him.
Ghost on board. When it comes to being a security guard at an airport and you have to check some of the planes in the maintenance hangars, it can be a terrifying notion. Sometimes with no power, open doors, and parts of its guts hanging out, it can really set the stage for some kind of horror. That's exactly what we got while this security guard was making his rounds and happened upon this craft. While walking through the aircraft, he used his flashlight, in typical horror film fashion, to scan the environment. When he got to the back cabin where the crew would sit, he noticed a shadow and beady pair of glowing eyes staring back at him. Thinking he was imagining things, he swung the flashlight flashlight to the side and back again to see the same figure but moving ever so subtly. This was the last straw for the guard, and he turns and screams out prayers as he sprints his way back to security headquarters and informs them of the news. A team was later dispatched and nothing was discovered. When the footage was revealed to the other members of the team, they too felt uneasy about their jobs from that day forward, especially when it came to this very specific aircraft. What weary spirit still lingered there? Proof of aliens. Did the US accidentally admit that there are aliens that have visited Earth? While they didn't say that directly, a recent questioning from the Supreme Court of whether the UFO footage that was released was indeed alien, they did not deny or confirm. They said they aren't ruling out the possibility. They might as well have just said yes with an answer like that. Before it was always no, not extraterrestrials, but the times have indeed changed. The unclassified report demanded by Congress was inspired by numerous reports by the US military of unidentified vehicles moving in bizarre ways in the sky. It also comes after a cultural shift that saw the US military and political leadership go from ET denier to ET curious. With little conclusive evidence to confirm or deny any visitations, it remains to be seen whether we'll ever know the truth. That is, save for the creatures coming down and saying hello themselves. The government may never give the whole story. Military leaders warn that the technology, if not alien, may belong to either China or Russia and are far superior to anything imaginable at the given time.
But that's a question I often wonder. Will we ever know the truth in our lifetime?
Managed to accumulate and invent such tech in such a short period of time would thus be the biggest question going forward. Airplanes are an amazing feat of human ingenuity, but still remain one of humanity's greatest fears. Our feet belong on the ground, some would argue, and defying that is a test to the fates. While this undoubtedly is so, it's more dangerous to get into your car and commute to work than it is to take an airplane from point A to point B. The notion of being tens of thousands of feet in the air is just too much for many, and rightfully so. It only takes one crash for it to become a reality in people's minds. Still, there are many...
That's true. Why doesn't everybody have their own window at their window seat? Why was that one look like it was positioned in the middle of the seats? That's gonna do nothing but cause a fight. Somebody want to look out. The other person don't want the light. They want to probably sleep, and they don't probably have one of those eye masks, so they want to sleep or they want it dark. Why not make sure everybody has their own window? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. These planes, as much as they cost to build, and the ones I've seen that have been super decked out, I feel like that's just a small price to pay. With everything else they do with these planes. You've seen some of these private planes? Insane. Go look at Drake's. Insane. You know what I'm saying? But this was Flight Passenger Captures What No One Was Supposed to See. So y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And stick around and stay tuned. Till the next one, I'm gone. Peace.